I think we're all set at last. Good morning. My name is Penny Pugh. I'm the head of research services for the Downtown Campus Library. And I bring you greetings from my colleague Hilary Fredette, who is the head of access services and who unfortunately couldn't join us this morning. So she has empowered me to talk about her services as well as my own. And I hope I'll do a good job of that. We're in an interesting situation because I want to show you things on the screen, and my computer is down here and you all are here, and so I'm going to be walking back and forth a little. No, it's fine, thank you. The first thing I'd like to do is introduce several of my colleagues, and you may have met some of them during earlier orientation sessions. But here in the front row is Jennifer Snipes, and I think she might be of particular interest to lots of you because she has been newly hired as our research and liaison librarian to the College of Business and Economics. So Jennifer Snipes is your personal librarian, and
so if you're having questions, give me a call and I'll see what I can do to help out.
And she'll be slipping out here shortly because she's going to go talk to new PhD candidates over at the college, so she's not going to be able to stay with us all morning. Also in this row, we have Sarah Beth Grant, who is an adjunct librarian in the research department in the Downtown Library, and Melissa Brooks, who is a new cataloging librarian over in the Downtown Library. So they can be your best friends. And I'm going to show you how you can find other librarians by subject. Let's start with that. This is the library website. And here under services, if you look for subject librarians, you can identify by academic department the librarian who handles your book orders, requests for journals, and with whom you can make contact with the library on any matter. We have lots of ways for you to be in touch with us. One way is your subject librarian, and the list is here alphabetical by academic disciplines. Let's begin with some information about our collections. I'm going to go back to our homepage and just talk a little about what we have for you. Our book collections are housed around campus in 3 major publicly open libraries, Health Sciences, Evansdale, and Downtown. We also store millions of volumes in an off-campus storage facility on the edge of town, and we bring those back by request to whichever is your home library. So you can ask to have things retrieved from that storage facility. In addition, the law library's collections are available to all of us, although they are part of the College of Law and not really part of the main library system. In my experience, which as I'm sure you can tell is somewhat long, faculty are most interested in journals. And our journal collections are primarily online, and you're probably familiar with this from whatever institution you come from. So we have electronic journals to support all the many disciplines throughout the university, and we make those available through our library website and also through linking software that we have hooked up with Google Scholar and our many research databases. I'm going to show you some of those things in a minute. But back to the print collections. There are a couple services that Hilary Fredette wanted me to show you, and I'm going to begin by showing you a research guide that she's developed just for this orientation session. So you'll be able to go back to it and find information, and if I fail to cover everything, it's going to be right there on the screen for you to look at. Here in our library website, in the top resources section, you'll see research guides. And then you can search here by a topic. So you could type in here interlibrary loan, for example, and find research guides that might give you advice on that topic. But since we know that it's Mrs. Fredette I'm going to just choose her name from this list. And here's the guide that she's created. I'm not sure how well you can see that from the back row, but each of these gold tabs represents a service or information about a service. Borrowing and renewing is the first one. And it talks here about how you can borrow books. We have semester loans for all faculty books. You can renew your books online through our catalog, and renewal dates are on this page somewhere. There are a few items that have shorter loan periods, and they're all listed right here. If you have family members who want to have library borrowing privileges, we can provide this to them through this faculty proxy form. Here are the renewal instructions. Another area that may be important to your teaching is the ability to put materials on reserve for your students to use. And we have both physical reserves and electronic reserves. So if you want the entire class to read an article, for example, you might want to use the electronic reserve system, and they will see that article when they log into the EResources.
Yes, I was wondering what, like, Harvard Business School cases and things can be put, can ask the library to get one copy, put it on reserve.
Actually, you know, Harvard Business School won't do that with cases. Now, that's a great question. Generally, when we purchase something, we can put it on reserve. And they may allow us to put one copy physically on reserve, but I don't think, I'm almost certain they won't allow us to make one copy digitally available. We just signed a license with them to allow you to put Harvard Business Review articles in course packs and in your eCampus courses. But the cases you have to purchase, and they're very careful about that.
Okay. I have another question on
Yes,
research, actually. I'm a new faculty member in BUD, and the director of the center, and I've been talking to Nancy, and she said I need to speak to the library, Nancy McIntyre.
Right.
Speak to the library about ordering certain databases and certain other things.
Yes,
Who do
and I'm the person you would speak to about that. I'm going to get to that in just a moment. That's a great question. What if you need database resources that we don't have? Because you're all coming from other institutions where there may have been a different mix of resources, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. So reserves and e-reserves. The information about how to avail yourself of both of those types of reserve materials is here on this page. Then, ways to get materials that we don't actually own. We have two systems in place. And one that's critical for lots of library services is a software piece called Illiad. It is the way that you make interlibrary loan requests. And we will get articles or physical items that aren't in our collections and deliver them on campus for you to pick up a physical item. Articles and other shorter things are scanned and delivered right into your Illiad account. We use it also to deliver scanned articles from our library offsite storage facility that I mentioned before. So it's really critical to have this Illiad account set up. It's very simple. You already have an account, actually. You use your WPU MyID to log in. I'll show you on the home page in a minute where this is located. And the first time you use it, you just fill out a very brief form, just a few questions, kind of decide which library is your home library. Thereafter, your account is where your articles will be delivered, where you will place requests for things. Now, we have another system in place that only delivers books, and it's called Easy Borrow, and that is a partnership with a consortium of Pennsylvania academic libraries. It's kind of self-service book ordering. You find a book you need in Easy Borrow, and one of our partner libraries throws it in FedExpress, and it is delivered to us and you check it out just as though you got it from our own shelves. So there are two ways to get things that we don't have in our collections. In addition, back to things we do have in our collections, we have services called Book Express Plus, which will move books around campus for you. You need a book that's in the health sciences library, you don't want to travel to health sciences to pick it up, you can just make a request for Book Express and it will be delivered to the library where you do want to pick it up. Book Express Plus actually will page books from the shelf. So if you want a book from the downtown library and you just don't have the time to fold to the shelf yourself, you can put a request in and we'll page the book and hold it at the desk for you to check out when you come in. We also have document delivery services for faculty, so that if you discover you need a journal article that happens to be in some of our few remaining print journals, we will scan and deliver that article to you, again, through your Illiad account. So that account is used to get stuff, pretty much no matter where the material is located. I'm not going to go to every one of these tabs. There are also tabs here that talk about the depository, that's the off-site storage facility. The library has study rooms on every floor that are equipped with big plasma screen monitors, and students and faculty can check out keyboards and mice and reserve the rooms in advance to use for small group work, independent work. And this page kind of explains that. And we have in our building, and I hope you'll have a chance to visit our facility. I know some faculty's work is such that they don't have much opportunity to come to the physical library, particularly since we have so many journals on the line. But we have a really lovely facility with a coffee shop, if that's inviting, and a leisure reading collection and a DVD collection and some things that might be of interest to you, including desktop computers, Mac computers with editing software and all sorts of multimedia production software on them, and the ability to check out laptops to use in the building. So these are services that are available to you and some of them to students as well. Do you have questions about any of those? I went through them quickly. Yes?
I'm actually going back to EResources.
Yes.
Sometimes I will post the first chapter of the textbook for my students just at the beginning of the semester. If they haven't got a book from the bookstore, or if the bookstore is out of the books, and sometimes. So I know there's a copyright issue involved, and I heard about putting it on EResources is quite different from putting it on eCampus. So I want to get more information about that.
Copyright is always an issue with EResources, and that's what I was talking about related to the Harvard cases. There is a form that you fill out, and you need to justify why it is fair use to put this item on electronic reserve. Now, we have some safety measures in place that limit access to that item only to students who are currently enrolled in your class. So that kind of takes care of some of the potential copyright problem and makes it a little easier to justify that as fair use. It's a case-by-case decision, and you'll see the form that you need to fill out where you justify why you're doing it, and you have to submit that. And I think that you could probably make a pretty good case with that. But again, putting a physical item is pretty easy. Scanning things, then you really do have to go through the copyright use.
I can give you a physical case, Harvard Business Review.
We'd have to check on it. We'd have to see what Harvard Business Review says. Because
This
they
is-
are, one of the most careful about guarding their intellectual property.
Would you recommend me to put it on like maybe one chapter on e-resource, or would you recommend and say I'm okay with eCampus,
You know, I am reluctant to make a recommendation about eCampus, and I know the eCampus folks are very careful about copyright as well. So I guess I would recommend that you do it through the libraries, because we have the copyright forms, and then we would have paperwork to justify what we're doing. But I'm not an intellectual property lawyer, so don't hold me to that. I saw another question.
A couple questions. If we want to put a copy of a textbook on reserve that the library doesn't own, can we just drop it off? And
Yes, you can, and I think the instructions on the form will say that you can drop it off. You can actually, although it's a little late at this point, we'll actually buy it if you want to put it on reserve too. We don't typically buy textbooks, because when we do, it becomes a melee. I mean, it's just a free-for-all. If we have a copy of a textbook on an open shelf, the first person who finds it gets it, and then there's great consternation among everyone else. So, but if you want it to go on reserve, we're happy to do that, and that's a good option. Students appreciate that very much too.
then the other thing was, you mentioned the through Illiad getting copies of hard copy journal articles. Is there anything like that available for book chapters?
You know, I don't know the answer to that question, but I will write that down and ask Hillary Fredette to let you know. Do you want to give me your contact information? I don't know if they do book chapters or not, but I know they do document delivery. Yes.
I was actually wondering about the Easy Borrow, and are there restrictions on DVDs and VHS that we borrow? Do we have to keep them in the library, or can we show them in our classes?
You know, I think that depends on the lending library,
Okay.
but typically no.
Okay.
I mean, if it comes by at Easy Borrow, the restriction would be at the other end and they wouldn't send it.
Sure.
But, you know, the lending library trumps everything. So it may be the case that sometimes they would say that, and then maybe we would need to go to another institution.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yes.
This is rather embarrassing. Where is the library?
That I am so glad you asked. The library, let me see if I can find a picture of it. I don't think that's embarrassing at all. Here is a photo of the downtown campus library. It is on University Avenue. If you pass the mountain layer from here, and then you pass Stewart Hall, across the street, Clark Hall, and the library is the next building on your left, heading toward downtown Morgantown. Has a relatively big green lawn in front of it, although not as big as it was 12 years ago when we plopped that new building on what was then a huge green lawn. So thank you for asking. I hope you'll visit soon. Any other questions? Okay, let me check my time here. Let's get to the electronics stuff then. This is my side of the house. One of your colleagues asked about databases. We have an A through Z and a subject list of research databases available from a link on our homepage. So here's a sort by subject. And let's go to business. And then an A through Z of various business databases. Popular databases, and we define those as things that we most often recommend to undergraduates and first-year students. So we have those here. You notice Google Scholar here. How many people are big Google Scholar users? Here's the cool thing. We have embedded our link resolver into Google Scholar. So when you use it from our link here, your results will go to licensed full text things that we pay for that you couldn't just get on the open internet. Yes?
If you don't use that link, if you're on like a WVU computer, will it still link it up?
It should. It should usually. That's a good question. Did you hear? She says if you're on a WVU computer, will it still link up? Normally it will, because the way we license the databases and the e-journals is by IP address. So when you're on campus, everything seems magic. You can, for example, and faculty do this all the time, so I'm glad to have you in one place to tell you, don't do this. If you can, for example, just go to JSTOR, and JSTOR works like a charm. But if you tell your students, go to JSTOR, and they're at home in their apartment on Willie Street, they can't go to JSTOR because they're not on a campus computer. So the off-campus access really is critical to start at a library page so you can be authenticated and get in. Yes, sir?
And will it, if you're off campus, will it send you a proxy server right away?
Yes. If you click the link from off campus, it proxies you, and we use a software called Easy Proxy. It's your WVU My ID, username, and password that proxies you in. Good questions all. Great. The other question, what if you don't have my database? Or databases I think I need for my area of research or teaching. We have an Electronic Resources Committee that I chair, which is composed of librarians from all over campus. I also sit on the B&E Library Research Committee, so I'm trying to build some connections there. The EResources Committee each academic year conducts trials and evaluations of new sources. So if you want to recommend something, I'm happy to hear from you. And I have a stack of my business cards up front here. We also have a link right on this page where it says help accessing databases. And my contact information is here along with that of folks from the other libraries. I'll take your request, contact the vendor of the database, arrange for trial access for the campus, solicit your feedback. We will evaluate how it fits into our mix of things, make recommendations to our dean, who makes the final decision. And as I'm sure you all are aware, these resources are really expensive, and so we are not always able to acquire everything we wish we could have. Yes?
Actually, that's not the case. I mean, I'm in international business, and I'm shocked that you have no international databases. You have one, China Data Online from the University of Michigan, which is not a standard database. Don't have the Economist Intelligence Unit, don't have ISI Emerging Markets, don't have even Factiva. You know,
And we did have Factiva, but it was not used, and so we canceled it years ago.
Yeah.
So, but we're happy to take
But that
your
would be the
request.
only state university that is in the country that doesn't have Factiva.
Well, that's why we're glad you're here, and I'm happy to hear from
So,
you.
yeah,
and to
so
take
you know,
your requests.
I wanna, and some of them are really cheap. World
That'd
Bank
be great.
databases are a couple of $100.
Not for libraries. We've looked into all of those.
OECD? No, actually you could get like,
We can get shocked. Let's have this conversation in detail later. As I said, I'm really delighted to look into the titles that you want, and we always want to support new programs, and so we'll be happy to take a look at your titles and anybody else's.
and then there's some like CompuStat. I mean, Nancy said that it was available, but it's not in the databases yet.
The business college gets CompuStat through Words, and they license that separately.
Okay. So I can get to that.
Yeah, Professor Turtle has he keeps the passwords for Words, I believe. Can we get together and talk about it?
Sorry for that.
Yes, sir.
So that's what I was going to ask. Are there certain like data people we need to contact for data sources like Words and this, and you said like Tuttle is the person we need to try and get our login and
Yeah, and that's a B&E. You know, B&E buys some of their own resources, and Words is one of the ones that they kind of keep closest to college. And so I'm not sure what others are available. Some I think are even at the department level.
okay.
The library-funded resources we have on our website. And if you think it's useful to have words on there, we'd be happy to
Oh,
do it,
yeah.
but we just have to redirect back to the college
right,
so
that's
people
right.
can
It would be.
go back to.
Or any others that, we don't know are
Right.
in college.
In addition to this kind of subject arrangement, as you scroll down, you can get an A through Z list. So if you want to check and see if a particular resource is available, you can go right to that letter and get the A through Z list there. Also by resource type, so encyclopedias, articles, collections of ebooks are available through that menu on the right. E-journals, magazines, and newspapers. Our library catalog is the ultimate source for information about our journal subscriptions, whether it's print or electronic, and our books, whether they're print or electronic. As of 9 o'clock this morning, it was broken. And we have a help ticket into the company from which we get it. They're in Israel, however, and so they are not currently available to address the help desk ticket. I hope that, let me check and see if it's fixed now. So here's our library catalog.
So Voyager's
Cross your
down
fingers.
this morning? So Voyager's down this morning or just the cataloging has?
Voyager.
Okay.
Well, I don't know about your side of it, Melissa.
Okay.
But as you can see, they don't have it fixed yet. So let's just go straight to eJournal. So this is a portal where you can check by title or by subject, actually, if you want to. But most often folks are asking me, do you have this journal? Do you have a specific journal? And this would be where you could check on that. Let's try this one. I'm typing American Sociological Review. Because it's a good example of how the e-journal world works. And you may be familiar with this from other institutions. But in response to my query for that journal title, I get 2 results. And here, American Sociological Review shows me that we actually have the entire run electronically, but not all from one place. So from 1936 to 2008, scanned pages of every issue in JSTOR. From 1988 to 1 year ago, because it's embargoed in this database, ABI Inform, there's full text in ABI Inform for those years. But from 2004 right up to the present, we have it from the publisher stage. So when you do these e-journal searches, sometimes you have to kind of look at the dates here to make sure you choose the platform that covers the date you are interested in. And many e-journals work that way. JSTOR is an archive, it doesn't have the current material. A lot of databases have full text, but it's embargoed by the publisher, so it stops a year ago, and then we have a subscription to a complete run of it as well. And you're going to see that when you use the journals lookup feature. Does that make sense?
Is there a consortium that you belong to for electronic databases?
Yes, we belong to several.
So maybe that could be an avenue to get some of the databases as well.
We license many of the ones we already have through several consortiums. One is called PALSI, and one is called EResources. I think we also belong to Solinet and some of the other consortiums. So let me go back to our home page again. And we've talked about remote access, MyID, e-journals. I wish I could show you the catalog. That's where you would place your Book Express Plus requests, and that's where you can find our complete ebook collection. We've been moving very aggressively to acquire electronic books, and we have them in many different collections and publishers and platforms as well, and they're all consolidated in this one place. eReserves is here. Borrow from other libraries, I mentioned earlier, Easy Borrow and Illiad are both there. Book Express is the campus delivery system, so links to that are right here. In terms of citation management, the libraries provide 2 cloud-based systems, RefWorks and EndNote Web. If you prefer a client-based citation manager, the campus does have a campus-wide license for EndNote, and you can get a reduced license. I think it's $75 for a license that runs to 2015 right now. But from the libraries, we just do cloud-based citation managers and databases. RefWorks is kind of nice because you can take your account with you. So it's portable if you go to another institution. For our graduates, there's an alumni program. They can keep their account forever as alumni. So it's kind of a nice one. Let me just mention this giant search box in the banner that you will see on most of our library web pages is our library discovery system. It is a Google-like, I don't think I'm allowed to say that, but it's a Google-like search of our collections. And so you can keyword search here and look across many disciplines rather than searching in those, disciplinary silos of databases. For example, I don't know why my caps lock is on. The big issue in this region, of course, is the development of the Marcellus shale and hydraulic fracturing to, is this running? Well, this never happens. I'll just go to a new tab. I'm not sure what's going on here. Oh, that's just odd. Okay. I'm going to say this is because I'm using IE and I don't know what version what this is. But this search, just for this phrase, returns about 6,000 items. And they're government reports and hearings. Here I can see that about 3,000 of them are journal articles. So I can kind of drill down through these results and just see the journal articles, for example, by checking journal article. And then I think that kind of interesting thing about this is that it crosses disciplines. So I have things from the Pennsylvania CPA Journal, and then I have transactions of the American Geophysical Union. So we're seeing articles in publications from a variety of disciplines. Now you can continue to sort down and only look at subjects that you're interested in. These provide immediate full text links to the articles that are retrieved through our collection. So it's kind of a quick way to find articles on a topic, but even better to find a known item, to see if we have an electronic copy of an article that you want to read right now. You can type the title in and it usually pops right up to the top. Yes?
We had this same system at my old university, and one of the research librarians said it's inferior because it won't show. He said to use the library catalog because this doesn't always show the holdings of the university. Do you guys have that bug as well? Because I would use this and I'd be like, oh, okay, they don't have it. So I'd submit an interlibrary loan, and then they're like, no, we do have it. And so when this happened a couple times, I went to the research library and I was like, what's going on? He's like, it misses, for some reason, it doesn't work the way that they want it to.
Well, I will say it doesn't work the way I want it to. But I think our holdings are in there pretty well. Melissa, you want to speak to that?
Can I talk on that one real quick? And it's just because I came from another library myself, and it had a different, what we refer to these are in the library are discovery tools. It can matter what type of discovery tool you have. as to what the glitches are in it. For the most part, I've seen very few glitches in the way of the actual holding not showing up in this. In WorldCat Local, which is another one that is a discovery tool that's offered by that's offered through another vendor, they do have some difficulties with showing the actual item you have in hand because their relevance and what you're getting sorted does not sort to what you have in-house as to the current edition, but to the most held edition by the
But we're not
international-
using that one.
Yeah,
So
we're not
that's-
using that
that
one, so
shouldn't
that
be a
may have
problem.
been there, but that's some of the type of stuff that can happen within them. But with some, I've never seen that. I've seen it where it shows exactly what we're looking for within it. I mean, it doesn't work. I mean, I understand exactly what Penny's saying. It doesn't work to exactly what we want it to all the time to do, but I actually love it because
It's quick and easy.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, and it's continually in development. They release a new version every 3 weeks, so it's being improved as we go along. I just offer it as a kind of quick way to check and see if we have a particular article. And also, you know, we acquired it more for our novice researchers who do not have any understanding of how scholarly information is produced or disseminated or organized, so they don't have to know quite so much to get some results that are maybe better than Wikipedia. So, not that Wikipedia isn't okay if you want to know about Smurfs or, you know, the episodes of Happy Days or some of those things. So, I think I'm supposed to end at 10:45, is that correct, or 10:30? 10:30, okay, I'm going fast now. Let me go back to the library's homepage and just mention a few of our additional services. And one that I really want to make sure I tell you about is the kind of instructional support we offer if you are teaching classes and expect your students to do a paper or a project and you want them to find credible sources. We work with faculty all over the downtown campus, bringing students to our computer classroom in the library for a session that's kind of tailored to either their assignment, preferably to their assignment, to their discipline, to try to help them understand just what I said before, how this information is produced and how they can find relevant, credible information that really fits their information need or assignment. You can contact and I'll show you where this is. Here under instruction, you can contact our find instruction home here. Under library instruction resources, here are the contact information for setting up those appointments. You can also start with your subject librarian because that's, in most cases, the person who is going to be doing the instruction. And we work with lots of different disciplines, sometimes on a grand scale. Jennifer Snipes, who I introduced earlier, is working with the new writing business communication courses in BNE and reaching lots of students that way. We do very small classes, we do graduate seminars, and you can arrange for whatever suits your purpose by contacting us there. For immediate contacts, we have this Ask a Librarian button on our website that takes you to a page where you can chat live, or if you have a simple question, it may be already answered in our little got questions. So we staff this from 9 in the morning till midnight.
Yeah.
In the evenings, it's grad students staffing it. Hi, new faculty. So there you go. So that's live help on the spot. Up here, you know, if you want to know how to renew a book, you can type, how do I renew? And there's the answer to the question already programmed in. We also accept email questions here. And of course, we're happy to speak with you in person or by phone, and the contact information is on this site as well. So, I know I probably did not get to all your questions, but I think I need to bring this to a close. Yes?
Oh, sorry, just real quick question. Can you just give us a brief overview of how the process for book ordering for within discipline goes?
You can send book orders, suggestions to whichever, to your subject librarian in any way you want to do it. You want to draw up a publisher's catalog with circles in campus mail, that's fine. Shoot an email, that's fine. So contact them, say hello. They're happy to take your requests in any way they come in. There's no need for it to be some formalized activity. Yes?
We wanted to do library tours with groups of students to familiarize them. Is our research librarian or resource librarian the same point of contact for that?
It's probably better to contact the research services desk, and that, did I have that up on the screen? Back under instruction. We don't do a lot of tours because our services are virtual primarily, so building tours, depending on what you want them to learn, we'll talk with you. We'll try to talk with you until we reach a point that we think the students are going to benefit and not just kind of shuffle through the building.
Oh no, I meant like they sit down at computers and get walked
Yes.
through process.
That's right, the contact under instruction is where you start. Yes?
Are there library carols for faculty? Library carols for faculty?
We do not have library carols for faculty. Question was library carols for faculty. Anybody else? Did one? Please take a card. Yes, sir.
How does photocopy work for faculty in the library?
You know, photocopying for everybody is by swipe of your WVU ID card that has value on a mag stripe on the back called Mountie Bounty. I don't know if your department gives that to you, or if it comes from your college, or if you have to do it personally. Yes, sir.
What about the computing resources, things like MATLAB? Do you have it installed?
Well, we did have MATLAB installed until, and last week, I think the entire campus license expired. But we do have, and you can find on our site, that question answering service. What software is on library computers? You can get a list of everything
So
that's on the
we
computer.
renew MATLAB. We renew MATLAB.
We are not renewing it. This is a OIT, and maybe you're meeting with OIT this afternoon. You could ask them about MATLAB. But we do put it, we also put My IT Lab, and just a host of other productivity software on library computers. The list again is in the slide demonstrated, so you can go see exactly what's on our computers. Thank you all very much. It's been a pleasure to meet you.